Arrest him, my sister said, pointing at my son as if he were a hardened criminal. Her voice was unnervingly calm. Too calm. The officer hesitated. Ma'am, he's just a child. He stole my diamond bracelet, she snapped. It's worth $20,000. Check his backpack. I froze at the edge of the porch, clutching my purse so tightly my knuckles ached. Eli, my 11-year-old, was trembling, tears running down his cheeks, whispering, Mom, I didn't take anything. The officers shifted uncomfortably but followed orders. One young, nervous man unzipped Eli's small backpack. Inside lay a bracelet, sparkling and pristine, deliberately placed. No, I gasped. That wasn't there before. My sister folded her arms, smirking. Guess you shouldn't have raised a thief. Behind her, my parents stood silently in the doorway, saying nothing to defend him. The officers snapped cuffs onto Eli's tiny wrists. The clink of metal hit me like a blow. He turned toward me, sobbing. Mommy, I swear I didn't. I know, I whispered, my voice breaking. I know, baby. As the police car pulled away, I glared at my sister. Why? She tilted her head, adjusting her hair, smiling. Because you've always thought you were better than me. In that instant, something inside me died. And something else was born. Cold. Focused. Relentless. My name is Lena Hart. I'm 31. That day I stopped being the nice sister. The car disappeared down the street. My parents turned and went inside as if nothing had happened. Mom! I shouted. You just watched them handcuff your grandson. My mother let out an irritated sigh. Lena, your sister wouldn't lie about something like this. Maybe he just made a mistake. A mistake? That's what they called it when my terrified son was dragged into a police car. My father muttered. We'll sort it out quietly. No need for drama. I laughed, a dry, hollow sound. Drama? You just let your grandson get arrested on a lie. My sister stood there, arms crossed, lips curved in that smug little smile she always wore when she thought she'd won. Face it, Elena, she said sweetly. You've always been the mess of this family. It was only a matter of time before your chaos rubbed off on your son. My hands shook but my voice stayed steady. You planted that bracelet. Her eyes glittered. Prove it. She turned and walked inside, humming, as if she hadn't just destroyed a child's life. Mom followed, whispering, Don't make things worse. That night, I sat alone in my car outside the police station. Eli was inside, terrified, crying. I couldn't reach him. Not yet. But I remembered every smirk, every word, every triumphant look on my sister's face. She thought she had broken me. What she really did was wake me up. By morning my tears were gone. I was planning. Eli was released into my custody after the officers verified his age. But the damage was done. Whispers, sideways glances, rumors at school. Son of an accused thief. I watched him sleep on the couch, his small wrists still red from the cuffs. My stomach twisted. This wasn't about a bracelet anymore. This was about power. My sister's favorite currency. I spent the following day methodically collecting screenshots, texts, bank records. Everything she'd ever boasted about while drunk at family dinners. Her sham charity fund, her phantom employees, the so-called business trips that were really weekend getaways with her boss. By evening I had assembled a folder so thick it practically felt alive in my hands. Then I dialed a number I hadn't called in 5 years. Detective Rowan. The same officer who had once investigated my sister's company for embezzlement. Answered with a weary voice. Lena Hart, it's been a while, he said. I have something you'll want to see, I replied. It's about the Hastings Foundation, and a $20,000 bracelet that wasn't stolen. Silence hung on the line. Bring it in. But Lena, if this is a game. I'm not playing. I cut him off. She used the police to humiliate an 11-year-old. Now I'm using the truth to destroy her. When I hung up, I looked down at Eli sleeping peacefully. This time, baby, I whispered. Mommy isn't staying quiet. Detective Rowan met me in a dim interrogation room at the precinct. He looked older, more worn than I remembered. But the moment I placed the thick folder in front of him, he straightened up. Are these what I think they are? He asked. Every transaction, fake invoice, hidden transfer my sister's made over the past 3 years, I said. She's been siphoning millions through her own charity. Rowan flipped through the pages, brows knitting together. And the bracelet incident? He asked. She planted it, I stated flatly. She used her contacts in the department to file a false report, humiliate me, and tarnish my child's name. Rowan exhaled slowly. If we can prove this, it's felony fraud, conspiracy, and false accusation. Prove it, I whispered. And make sure she never weaponizes a police officer again. He nodded deliberately. I'll start the process, but you'll need to remain silent. I smiled. The same smile my sister used to wear when she thought she'd won. Quiet is my specialty. As I left the station, I spotted her silver BMW parked across the street. The one she bought with stolen grant money. She was inside, laughing into her phone, sipping an overpriced latte. She didn't notice me walk by, but she would. In less than 72 hours, every company she'd ever worked with, every investor she'd deceived, would see her for exactly who she was. By the next morning, the dominoes began to fall. Detective Rowan's team moved swiftly, faster than I dared hope. They discreetly contacted banks, corporate offices, and supposed sponsors of my sister's foundation. Every number led to another ghost, every transaction to another fraud. At home, Eli was quieter than usual. He sat by the window, tracing condensation with his finger. Mom, he said softly, did I do something bad? I knelt beside him, brushing his hair back. You did nothing wrong, sweetheart. Adults believed him. He nodded, trusting me without question, and that trust only fueled my fury. That night I put the finishing touches on my plan. An email packed with attachments, spreadsheets, audio files, photos, and a single line that spelled it all out. The truth about the Hastings Foundation. I scheduled it to hit every journalist, board member, and donor at exactly 8 a.m. on Monday. By 8:02, my phone erupted with notifications. By 8:10, the story had gone viral, breaking everywhere, spreading like wildfire. Charity director under investigation for massive fraud. I sipped my coffee quietly as my sister's face dominated every feed. At 8:27, my mother called, screaming, "What have you done? You've ruined her career." I stared out the window, calm, composed. "No, Mom," I said softly. "I didn't ruin her career. I just turned on the lights and watched the roaches scatter." By noon it wasn't just a scandal. It was an earthquake. The Hastings Foundation's accounts were frozen. The board of trustees had resigned in panic. Reporters were staking out her gated community. Every channel replayed the same footage. My sister, designer coat shielding her face with a handbag, cameras flashing non-stop. And yet she still called me. Her voice trembled. Not with guilt but with rage. "You think this makes you better than me? You humiliated our family. You destroyed everything." I held the phone, silent for a moment, then replied, "You destroyed it yourself the moment you called the police on my child." "You don't understand, Lena," she shouted. "It was only supposed to scare him. Not what?" I cut in. "Not handcuff him. Not traumatize him. Not make him feel worthless because his mother isn't rich enough." Her silence spoke volumes. "Listen carefully," I said, my voice low, calm, deliberate. "You always thought you were untouchable because Mom and Dad had your back. But the law doesn't care who you're related to. And neither do I." When I hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. Eli peeked into the room, worried. "Are you okay, Mom?" I smiled at him. Really smiled this time. "Yeah," I whispered. "I think we're finally free." The headlines kept rolling. Justice had only just begun. The next few days felt surreal, like watching a movie in slow motion. Every hour brought a new story, a new revelation. Investigators confirmed my sister had forged grant receipts and funneled over $4.3 million into offshore accounts. My parents tried to reach me. Texts, calls, voicemails, all repeating the same refrain. Family shouldn't destroy family. But their loyalty had been decided long ago. When a reporter finally appeared at their doorstep, I knew the truth had landed. Mom called, her voice breaking, unable to fathom that the police were taking my sister in for questioning. "She's your sister, Lena," she sobbed. "Blood is blood," I said, my voice shaky but resolute. "Try telling that to the 11-year-old you watched being hauled away in handcuffs. You called that discipline. I call it betrayal," I added. Silence followed. Later that evening, as the sun sank low, I watched Eli from the window, building a Lego tower on the rug. He hummed softly to himself, calm and secure. Something I hadn't seen in months. My phone vibrated. A message from Detective Rowan. She confessed. You and your son won't have to testify. I read it twice, locked the screen, and let out a long, slow breath. For the first time in years, the house didn't feel haunted. Felt like ours again. Steady, peaceful, whole. Eli looked up and smiled. Mom, can we bake cookies tonight? I returned his smile. Yeah, baby. We can. The trial passed more quickly than anyone expected. My sister accepted a plea deal. 5 years reduced for cooperation. Her husband lost his teaching license for falsifying financial records. And my parents, their names appeared in the local papers, marked as complicit enablers. For once, silence fell on the Hastings family. Not from pride but from shame. A month later, I returned to the same police station where my son had once been treated like a criminal. This time, Detective Rowan greeted us with a warm smile. Eli, he said, bending down, you're a brave kid. I hear school's going well. Eli grinned shyly. Mom helps me study. Rowan nodded at me. And you help deliver justice. Stepping outside, the sunlight felt different. Warm, clean. For years, I had thought peace was something you waited for, begged for. That day, I realized peace is something you build brick by brick, truth by truth. Weeks passed. I returned to work, focused on rebuilding the life they tried to shatter. Eli slept soundly every night. The nightmare was over. One evening, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at an old family photo. My sister, my parents, me. Felt no hate. Only release. Some battles destroy you. Others set you free. And when you finally stop defending the people who hurt you, you discover what peace truly sounds like.